Hello and welcome to Stocks Advisor channel. Here at our channel we are looking for interesting buy opportunities for US-based stocks. After a period of some silence we start our videos again, and actually that period was not used for nothing. We were spending our time to develop a new mobile applications to trade stocks and cryptos in a very unique way, to follow them with so-called cryptographic approach that we have developed, and we are going to announce those applications soon, so stay tuned. In upcoming videos it will be shown, but for now we continue with our analysis, and today we will talk about Ball Corporation, ticker name Ball, traded at New York Stock Exchange. And before we start, as always at our charts, we use daily candlesticks, and we have three moving averages here. It's moving average 20, 50 and 200, being green, blue and red line correspondingly. Here on the left top side you see their legends. Also we have RSI indicator and MACD histogram here. So overall, of course, the question would be where we're going to head with this kind of pattern, because some people might say, well, we are having continuation of the channel, but this would be a classical mistake making here, because this is not the continuation of the channel from May. It is actually formation of the new channel, because if you look carefully here, indeed from February till mid of June we had this descending channel with the bottom line of it depicted here. Then it actually turned to upper line, to upper channel here, and now we observed a breakdown of the channel. It was rejection completely. We didn't continue to moving average 200 here to the levels of 80 plus. We declined, and actually we see now first point formed in the area of, let's say, about 68, which tells us about the new channel being actually formed. This is the bottom of the channel, but we don't know if it will, we don't know the angle of this line, because if you would draw it actually here, you can draw it something like this, but then the question would be at which angle will it go, and that angle will be exactly defined by the next decline. So we will change here a little bit the scale. So the angle of this bottom part of the channel will be defined, as here it was done as well, by the next point. So we need next decline to define it, and it would be quite hard to say where exactly should be. But if you do a classical, let's say, extrapolation here, and you would continue this one, you can say that it will definitely drop below this line and then should be forming somewhere here. So being this number kind of unknown, you can say that we can observe a decline action, and then anywhere below this, let's say, this line, we should start buying. And in general, it would be quite safe, but we still need to be, let's say, seeing when this angle will be formed. So when another similar pattern will be formed, so there we can indeed buy again. So what we can observe here is action like this. Let's draw it in a different color for our convenience, but actually, no, let's say different style. Let's do it with the drop dots. So then we should see a rebound, and that rebound actually will define as the top of the channel, because then what we should be seeing, as I said, this would be the dark line with the lowest dark line with unknown, let's say, angle, and then similarly here in parallel to that we should have also, let's say, the top of the channel, and then we know how to trade. So actually what we have here is a channel formation moment, and it's quite, let's say, usually not advised to trade at these. Overall, you can say that moving average 20 here, the green line will form kind of a resist level as well, but usually at these kind of patterns, it's advised to wait for next rebounds, because then you will know, or let's say for indication of next rebounds, because you don't want to miss this leg opportunity as well. And what would be the indication? These could be so-called red-white combinations of candles, similarly like we saw here in, actually, let's magnify it, here in mid of May and also here in mid of June. You see these red-white combinations near on the bottom of the channel, when you see kind of, okay, it's turning the trend. Similar we should observe here. Then we can say, okay, this is change. Then we can start buying. But again, it would be quite difficult to understand when to sell, because we don't know the angle of the top of the channel. Though we can, with parallel, we will be able to move that line here like this, and then to define it. But I would say anything below this dark line, let's actually make it also different style, let's make it dashed line. Anything below this dashed line, once it starts to show, let's say this turning moment, like red-white combinations, would be to buy, and then everything above it would be to sell. In this case, I wouldn't advise any kind of many levels defense, as we do averaging down approaches. The reason for that is very simple, because we don't have here, that's why again magnified, we don't have any history here of resist support lines really well formed. Therefore, advice would be overall just to wait, or if you really want to trade it, anything below this dashed line, and when you see indication of reverse, you can buy and then sell immediately after you are above of this dashed line, and that would be advice of it. So speaking of numbers, speaking of any kind of, let's say, notes to make here would be quite difficult, but we can just write it here that let's call this trend line old trend T1, and then actually anything, as I said, below T1, so anything below T1 plus indication of reverse would be the buy point, and then anything actually above T1 and indication of down or parallel line, as we just discussed it, actually T1 parallel line would be indication that it is end of the trend and to sell. But I would just wait. But if you really want to let's say take a bite on it, try to trade on it, that would be overall idea here. But I would wait, because we are just forming a descending channel, and we need to wait to understand again the angle of this line. But as I said also at the beginning of this video, this is a midterm very bullish, meaning that once this trend line is formed, and after a couple of rebounds, we should actually return higher, and the first level where we can be coming back is actually also let's say quite high here, would be around 70 plus, depending how it will further develop, because once we all coming back, the first leg here, the first level would be where we are going to come back. So that would be idea, that would be advice. Overall wait, keep it in mind, because it should be very interesting to trade in future. But if you really want to trade, you know the idea. So that's below T1 and above T1 would be the indication. With this being said, that's all actually for bulk operation. We'll come later to this one, because it's forming, actually starting to form quite interesting preset to trade. For now, just to keep it on watch list, the best advice would be. With this being said, and again reminding that we have developed a new mobile application. We had already one old one. Those who use it, it's actually now kind of on a pause. It's not being updated, because we are developing a new one. It will be soon released, and we will make additional video for that. That was the cause for our, let's say, pause in making videos. Now we start again. With this, thank you, good luck with ball, and see you at another episode of Stocks Advisor channel.